This video is brought to you by Legacy Audio, relentlessly pursuing audio perfection for over 2 decades. Hi, I'm Andrew Dash with Audioholics. I love the simplicity of integrated amps. In all of the complexity of receivers, the integrated amp is a reminder of what this hobby is all about: music. Now, Marantz just put out its latest amp, the PM6005, which looks almost identical to the PM6004. In fact, the only real difference is that the new 6005 adds digital audio decoding. There are now 2 digital inputs, one optical and one coaxial. All the digital analog conversion is handled by a reference quality Cirrus Logic CS4398. Now, that's a 24-bit 192 kilohertz high current DA converter. Oh, and if you can't get the amplifier to select and play audio from the coax digital audio SPDIF input, you might want to double check to be sure that you didn't accidentally plug the cable into the orange remote control input. Not that I did that, because I would never do that. I'm a professional and we know those sort of things, and to watch. Anyway, on another note, Marantz also eliminated one recorder loop through analog input. And other than that, the units look identical. IR flasher inputs, RCA style remote control loop through, all there. Now there are 3 AC outlets in the back, 2 are switched, and 1 is always on. These kind of convenience features are really practical, and they afford you the ability to turn off your entire system or turn it on again and power up accessories like a router or other device, all with just a single power outlet being required. Now I can talk about the front panel, automatic standby feature, or the remote control that I found very usable and easy to access, although not backlit. But I want to get around to how it sounds, my listening tests, because that's what matters. Everything else is really expected and not surprising. It's a nicely designed integrated amplifier, but it's not wholly different from, well, all the other integrated amplifiers I've used in terms of how it interacts with you. But the sound. Well, let me start here. I had just seen Classic Albums Live do Pink Floyd's Animals and Dark Side of the Moon albums, so I was motivated by the opportunity to give my Dark Side of the Moon album another listen. I popped in the SACD I have of the album and played the CD layer on a Marantz CD6005. Of course, the perfect and obvious matchup to this integrated amp. Now, the rototoms in Time were wonderfully spacious, and the 2-second reverb decay really just cascaded into the listening space. It's always difficult to compare amplifier sound, so what I did in this case was A/B it with a couple of Emotiva XPA1 amps that I have in the room as well. The speakers I kept constant. Those were a pair of Salk Song Towers. Now, I'm very familiar with the sound of these speakers and that amp, so my goal was to see how much performance and fidelity I could discern from the $600 Marantz compared to a $2,000 pair of monoblocks. In the Great Gig in the Sky, I think I found my answer. There was just a touch less warmth on things like the electric bass guitar, but area effects like cymbals that poked in from time to time in the track and the tight snare revealed a simple clarity that couldn't be ignored. The PM6005 seems to demonstrate a lot of control over those low frequencies that often ring out or disappear into the track. In Us and Them, I loved how the background synth pad rode almost over top the more pointed lead instruments in the mix. My Salk speakers were really able to do a lot with the outputs to provide a really enveloping mix and listening experience. David Gilmour's lead vocals were incredibly powerful and went from an upfront, dreamy, center-sourced echo to a wide, spacious, almost choral sound. I really can't convey how spread out the sound was, but it felt very live, and it was a lot of fun to listen to. I sat there and listened to the entire album, and it just kept getting better and better. The PM6005 can drive your speakers and drive them loud and with a lot of control. Of course, I have a lot more listening tests in the written review, so hit that link below if you're watching this on YouTube. The bottom line is that this is a really excellent integrated amplifier that plays clean and has the right features for the right price. Fans of Marantz are going to love the DAC, and those looking to develop a nice 2-channel system are going to want to give this a listen. It's a no-brainer to put on your shortlist. Be sure to check us out on facebook.com/Audioholics for the latest reviews and AV-centric posts throughout the day. And if you absolutely can't wait for your AV news and reviews, then follow us on Twitter @Audioholics Live.